Hello, Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Sophia Usman, and today I'll be giving a workshop which is a part of TSP's Nationals training workshops, which will help speakers better prepare for nationals. I know this is not the first workshop that you'll think of when you try to watch these videos, but I think that this is an I think that a lot of us forget that nationals is just another tournament. And for a lot of speakers in Pakistan, we think that nationals is the only tournament worth winning, that the epitome of success as a debater is when we win nationals. I don't think that's true. I don't think a lot of people think that's true. And I think today, if I'm able to do one thing, which is to prove to you that nationals is not all that it looks like or seems to be, and that you need to take care of yourself at nationals, I think I would have fulfilled my purpose here today. Okay, so this is a small workshop, a small guide on how to survive what is seemingly the biggest tournament of the year. We'll discuss six things today. Firstly, on what are your expectations from nationals? What do we think when we go into nationals? Secondly, how emotionally discontented we may feel at nationals from certain things or certain experiences that may leave us feeling emotionally discontent. Thirdly, we will learn how to deal with failure or rejection, specifically in regards to making it to POCAM. Because yes, it is the looming boulder over all of our heads. It is the elephant in the room. It is one of the only reasons a lot of us actually do go to nationals. I think it's very important to discuss that it is not that it is not all that it looks out to be, and that it is a very real possibility that you may end up going to camp or you may not end up going to camp. And we may need to learn to deal with both of those situations. Fourth, we will learn how to maintain team chemistry and how to just stay friends in high pressure situations in your teams. I know that in prep rooms, a lot of us want to kill each other, but it is very important to not do so for legal reasons and for other reasons. Fifth, we will discuss the struggle of being in outstation teams. That shout out outstation teams. I have been an outstation team for all of my career, and I think a lot of us forget how difficult it is to be healthy or to just generally stay sane being an outstation team. It is two very different ball games, being an outstation team and being a local team. And I think we forget that. We don't realize that. And today I'll try to discuss that with you a little bit. And lastly, we will discuss a few things that you should know before you end up speaking nationals. So let's get into it. Firstly, what does nationals even look like? So there are two categories, something all teams are doing, something only outstation teams are doing. So all teams will be putting in their hardest. They will be prepping all prep round cases, making six whole cases, or as of right now, I believe five whole cases because round one side just came out. This is an exhaustive process. It takes a lot of research, it takes a lot of time and energy that is exhausting, frankly speaking. You also have a lot of exhaustive debate camp and friendlies and camp every day till 9 p.m. for a lot of people, which may sound crazy to other people, but it is a reality. And you get to meet a lot of people. You have a lot of emotional ups and downs. You may doubt yourself a lot before going into nationals. And this is something that a lot of us experience. And it's very important to know that we're not alone in all of this. This is something that everyone goes through. It is an exhausting process, and we need to take care of ourselves during this process. Outstation teams. So outstation teams will be traveling. They will be staying in another city. They won't be staying at their homes. They will probably be staying at hotels. They will probably not be eating home cooked food for 5, 6 days. That is not healthy. That is not good. And I'll try to tell you guys how to survive that without your mom, dad for a couple of days. Okay, what do we expect from nationals? Going in, many people may have many different expectations. A lot of us may expect going into park camp, winning nationals, breaking, or even just making it past a certain outcome. For example, if I was speaking right now and I broke and I made it past even one out round, I would be happy because I would believe that I have proven that I can break, that I can rank as one of the best teams in the circuit, and that I can then go ahead and win a match. Just winning one out round. That is what it may look like to have to. That is what success may look like for a lot of people. And even just winning a single match for a lot of teams that are coming to nationals for the first time, and there are many teams that are coming to nationals for the first time. It is something that may be their goal. It is something that they may want to achieve, just generally winning one match. A lot of these expectations are valid, and knowing what you expect is very important before you go into nationals because let's be honest, if you end up achieving one thing and you know that you set out to achieve that thing, you should be proud of yourself and you deserve to be proud of yourselves. Not all of us are going into win nationals, and that's a reality. Only two teams out of 64 will be on that final stage, and a lot of us will face loss regarding that, which we will discuss very soon. But it's very important to be cognizant of that loss and to be aware of the possibility that we may not end up winning nationals, and to have our expectations set out from the get-go. So we don't face insane disappointment when we do end up in a situation where we face loss or failure. So just know your expectations, know what you're going in, prepare yourself. Secondly, what do we know before going into nationals? So before going into nationals, you know that you will be stressed. You know that you will feel anxious and you will feel overwhelmed. This is something that's a reality for every person. For a speaker that's going on to speak in the final stage and giving an opt-to speech, for a prop one speaker who is speaking a prepared round on round one, all of these people will feel anxious. You will feel stressed. You will feel overwhelmed. We're speaking 6+ rounds. That is a lot. It's a lot of rounds. And it's very important to be cognizant of that. You can't just go in thinking this is just another fun trip. It is not. It is something that's really stressful. And you should be aware of that. And you should have strategies to counter that from before. This is not something that you'll just come up with on the fly. If this is really the best tournament of the year and you do your research, you make your matter files, and you end up preparing so hard, why do we not prepare for the possibility where one of us gets stressed? I don't understand. I think this is just as important as any other part of your preparation. Secondly, we know that we will be in high pressure situations. We know that the dramatic nature of our circuit makes it feel like there many situations are life or death. And most importantly, before going into nationals, we should know that we may not achieve the goal that we came here to achieve. We should know that failure is a possibility. It's not something that will touch you. Um, none of us are special like that, that failure can't ever touch us or rejection can't ever touch us. It's a very real possibility that you will not achieve the goal that you came here to achieve. And knowing that possibility before going into nationals is important. It's very important to not mull over it and to not be disappointed and looking out the window being really sad about it. It's just important to be aware of the fact that this is a possibility, that you may see failure, and it's important to be aware of that. Okay, how do we deal with this? How do we deal with the reality of debates and all of the problems we just discussed? Firstly, dealing with anxiety. I think this is something that's the most common denominator that all of us have. All of us deal with anxiety. From speakers who spoke in park team to speakers who speak in generally teams that never go outstation, they all experience anxiety. Public speaking is an art that challenges you, that asks you to bear yourself in front of a judge for 8 whole minutes, which is something that's a lot. Asking yourself, asking people to speak for 8 whole minutes to somebody, that's a lot. So in those situations, a lot of us experience anxiety, and it's very important to know that this is something that will happen. Nobody is far from anxiety, not one person. If there's a really macho man in your team who thinks, I don't get anxious, they're lying, everybody does. So it's very important to have healthy coping mechanisms before you go into nationals, to be aware that once you do this, once you experience anxiety, once you go into that situation, how do we deal with it? So a lot of the techniques that I did myself individually, because I understand a lot of people aren't comfortable sharing that with other people. What you can do is you can have breathing exercises. So you inhale and you exhale really slowly, and you focus on the sound of your breath. You drown out everything else. You focus on how you're breathing, and you focus on that being the most important thing right now. The fact that you take a breath in and you take a breath out. And that is the most important thing. That can help you calm yourselves. Secondly, looking around the room, seeing 5 things that you can see, 4 things that you can touch, 3 things that you can feel, 2 things that you can taste, or 1 thing that you can hear. A lot of these types of techniques are things that a lot of us know already. And it's very important to remember them in the time when you're getting anxious. When you go to the bathroom and you're looking at yourself in the mirror and you can't see yourself and it's all hazy and you're anxious, this is something that can help. Other than that, so there are other ways that are more discreet. So, for example, before a speech, if I would ever get anxious, so there's a pressure point on your hand right over here near your thumb. If you press that pressure point for a few seconds, you will feel an instant uh, aspect of relief, because it is a point that is designed to help you get through with anxiety. So there are many healthy coping mechanisms that are available for you to counter anxiety. So what I used to do when I was a speaker was I had one playlist, and before every Nationals Day started, I would listen to that playlist, and that would help me get into the zone for nationals. That would help me not be as frivolous or not as clumsy going into a round and not knowing what's happening. It would help me get into the mindset that I needed. So it's very important to establish these healthy coping mechanisms and not turn to things to alleviate our anxiety, which look like, for example, lashing out at people, being rude, shutting ourselves off, not eating. These are unhealthy coping mechanisms, and we don't really want to go towards them. And that's why it's important to identify that what these are the things that will help me, and I need to be aware of them. Other people also need to be aware of them if your anxiety is something that gets bad. So you should communicate with your teammates because remember, it is a team sport. You should be able to tell them that this is something that I do. And in a situation where I feel really anxious, please help me with doing that. So communicating with your teammates, with your coaches, with a trusted adult who will be able to help you in this situation, it's really important. And I think all of these situations help calm you down from all of this. And at the end of the day, if it gets too bad, if it's a situation where you don't know what's happening and you're constantly having anxiety attacks and it's something that's really, really bad, just stop. It isn't that deep. Remind yourself that this is just an extracurricular activity. It is not the end of your life. If you leave it, it is not something that will to like end your life. And that's what a lot of us think that I can't leave it. It is a choice at the end of the day. Staying in debate is a choice. If a speaker can leave debates in O3 and they can also leave debates in AS, they can also leave debate at the middle in the middle of the year. They can leave debates 2 days before nationals. Nobody, nothing can stop you. There are obviously social reasons why we may want to stay, but if you want to leave, if this is something that genuinely harms you, and it stays something that it starts becoming something that's harmful for you and not helping you at all, and putting you in a very bad mental headspace, just leave. It is something that it's not something that deserves that amount of effort and energy from your side. Okay. Secondly, dealing with failure. And this is where the PARCAM aspect comes in a lot because a lot of us don't realize how difficult it is, how emotionally taxing it is to be able to expect that my entire debating career relies on this one speech. That if I do good in this one speech, I get a 73 in this one speech, I can go to PARCAM. And that's when you get into that PARCAM mindset, you start thinking that every single round is life or death. You start thinking that, oh, if only I increase the margin in this debate. Oh, if only I do something, I increase my score. If only I hoard a little bit and then I increase my score in this last round, I may be able to rank. Ranking is not something that's just that simple. I don't necessarily think that of 300, more than 300 kids that are going to come to nationals, all of them are going to PARCAM. Only 20, 25 of those students will be able to go to PARCAM. And it is very, very variable. It is something that depends on a roll of the dice. And this is something that Anam Nasir, the goat, told me. She said that one of her friends told her that life is just a roll of the dice. And sometimes the roll may lead to good things. It may lead to a good roll. It may lead to happiness or give you luck or give you benefit or success. And sometimes the roll may not be good. But when that happens, it's very important to remember that the dice does not hate you. It is just a dice. It's the job of the dice to roll and show a number. And if the roll is bad, the world does not hate you. The dice does not hate you. It is just a dice and it is just a roll and it will roll many more times again. So it's very important to understand that if we don't end up getting into PARCAM, it is not our fault, not entirely. It is many things, many factors that come into play. So a lot of the health dynamics, if we're healthy, if we're in the right mind space, if the motion was on our side, even if the judge was on our side, if the judge was having a bad day, a lot of things go into if you actually go to PARCAM. So this is something that's very important, and we need to be cognizant of that. If we are not aware that going into PARCAM is variable, we will blame it on ourselves. In the very likely instance that we don't get to PARCAM, we'll blame that completely on ourselves. And I don't think that's fair because even if you put your 100% in, if you put all of your best in it, you still may not get to PARCAM. And that is something that's likely. It's because it's something that's variable. It's based on luck. And this is something a lot of people tell speakers, but they don't believe it until they experience it themselves. PARCAM is based on luck. So blaming yourself for not getting in hammering down on yourself or berating yourself just for the fact that you didn't get into park camp, it's something that's very, very futile. It's something that won't get you far. It's something that will just leave you feeling disheartened. Being harsh on yourself for not getting to park camp is not going to do you any good at all. Just know that going into park camp, for somebody who's been there 3 times, it is based on luck. It is very much based on luck. And trust me when I say that even if you don't get in, there will be many more chances. There will be many more chances for you to get in. And even not getting into park camp, that is still somebody who doesn't ever get into park camp, that person can still be the most successful person within a circuit. Like these are people who are able to give speeches that I have seen speakers who didn't go to park camp who gave speeches that I don't think I'll ever hear again. They were that good. Going to park camp, making park team, and being just 10 out of 700,000 people is it does not mean that you have achieved success. There are many other ways of achieving success other than park camp. We need to deal with the failure of not meeting our expectations or realizing that your expectations from before and your expectations from when you're in the tournament, they may differ. So your expectations from the beginning could be winning nationals, but in the middle of the tournament, you could be just breaking. And it's very important that you realize that when you don't meet your expectations, sometimes it is just a roll of the dice. And even if you don't end up meeting your expectations, don't make any life-changing decisions like, oh, I'll just leave debate. Oh, I'll just start hoarding from my teammates. Or, oh, I'll just stop being friends with my teammates because they were mean to me in prep. It's very important that once you're in that very, very emotional stage of nationals, that you don't take any decisions that are harmful or any life-changing decisions at nationals. Don't be rash at nationals. We're all in such a tense, high pressure situation that any decisions that are important should not be taken at this point, that we're all really emotional at that time. So even if you don't end up meeting your expectations, don't think that, oh, this activity just isn't for me. I will leave this activity forever. It's very important to still realize that this is just luck, that at certain times, this didn't play out in my benefit. I didn't look at that article. I didn't read up on this enough. I didn't take it as seriously. Or even if you tried your best, your absolute best, that I just wasn't in a situation right now, that in my life right now, maybe winning nationals was just not a possibility. Maybe it was something that I didn't get in my destiny. It's very important to still be aware of these things. So even if you have some form of failure at these tournaments or at nationals, it's important to recognize that it is a possibility. All of us can see failure, and once we do it, it's not the end of the world. So for example, just redefine your expectations. So it is never the end. Even if you're saying that, oh, I didn't win nationals, that's my A2, this is the end of my life, it is never the end. It is never the end. A lot of speakers today or at nationals this year will be from A2. There will be speakers who will be speaking for the last time possible. I never won nationals. When I was speaking my nationals, I only made it to the quarterfinals, and it was a really funny match. But the point here is that a lot of us will leave nationals never winning it ever in our lives. We will leave our WSDC careers never having made it to park team or never having won nationals. In those times, it's very important to realize that this is not the end. You have an entire new circuit of WUDC, World Universities Debating, where you can get in. You have an entire plethora of open tournaments you can speak. Jiki, Shajivna, PLDC, God knows, so many more tournaments, Lums Asians, there's so many that exist in Pakistan. And then there's the majors, Doxbridge, Penn, or I don't know, there's so many tournaments that exist. For the love of the art, for the love of debate, you can do so much in your life. There's so much more left. This is not the end. But if you just feel like, okay, this is where I've failed in my career, I didn't do anything in my WSDC circuit, why does that matter? We don't do this, we don't do activities just because of the chance of winning. There was this motion in a tournament really long ago about how there is this speaker called Muqaddas and she is an average debater. And when this very nice person in our circuit, Hanfia Bhai, took out the statistics for what an average debater was, an average debater probably broke rarely. An average debater probably didn't break as much in their circuit. An average debater probably never ranked above the top 3 or 5 positions. An average debater probably only ranked once in the top 20 or things like that. A lot of us don't realize the success we have achieved. and how different it is from other people. Once we live in this concentrated bubble of Pak teamers, we think that the only way to achieve success is to be in Pak team. And I think it's very important to extract ourselves. If you go up to anybody in your class who doesn't do debate and you tell them that, oh, I won this many rounds, they may not realize the importance of that. But when you compare your career to their career, obviously you've done a lot. It's just that you guys do a lot in your WSDC careers and you fail to realize that. You think the only way of success is Park Camp and Park Team, and it's not. It's truly not. The art of critical thinking, the art of public speaking, debate at the end of the day is just the art of persuasion. And once you start to adopt that, it's really, really important that you stick in that activity. And it's very, very important that once you get into debate and once you start achieving, that you don't forget that the achievements that you get aren't just Park Team and Park Camp. Everything, the first time you rank, the first time you break, that is also just as important. So redefine your expectations. Realize that it is not the end. If it's your A2, if it's your AS, you have an entire new circuit out there. Even if it's not your A2 AS, if you think that, oh, I didn't get into Park Camp, it's my O levels, don't spiral. You have many more years to go. You have many, many more years to go. If you're in O levels, you have 3, 4 more nationals to go. Please don't spiral. There are many more tournaments that have to happen throughout the year, and you will have an opportunity to succeed at them. When dealing with high pressure situations, this is something where a lot of us don't understand how that can get. So at nationals, there will be many high pressure situations. There will be times where we hate our teammates. There will be times where we need to speak more than 6 rounds and we're tired, or there will be times where we're speaking in matches that are so, so difficult. But the only thing that we need to be aware of at that time is that it's a team-based activity, not an individual one. And as it's written here, if you want to be an individual activity, you want to hoard, if you want to get the best score in your team, and that's your like criteria for success, go to MUNs. That's where you'll be valued, and that's where you'll have a lot of fun. But parliamentary debates is a team-based activity. So contributing the most in your preference, understanding if somebody doesn't understand something, it's not a failure of them. It is the fact that you as a team didn't prepare enough, or you knew something and you didn't tell them. If you had an epiphany at all 3, even the judge thinks that that wasn't necessarily an epiphany. They're great, but have them earlier. That's so it is a team-based activity. Even in the most high pressure situations, you take your losses as a team and you take your wins as a team. No one person can make a team win a match. No one person can then make a team lose a match. And it's very important to consider that because a lot of teams get really toxic at nationals. They blame speakers. They say that, okay, this is your fault that we lost the match. And that's just not true. No one speaker can have as big of an impact on a match. If you lost, it's all 3 of your speakers that led to that loss. And it's very important to own up to it. When you win, your wins are all of you together. When you lose, it should also be all of you together. And this is something that we need to realize. Secondly, don't tire yourself out before your match. Keep your cool and prep. Your real match starts when prep ends. So don't stress yourselves before even entering the match room. Speaking for 1 hour continuously, not thinking and sitting, just arguing, it's going to tire you out to the extent that you have had 1 hour of a debate before you even stepped into the room. And that team is going to be at an advantage before they even stepped into that room. So it's really, really important to not tire yourself out before you even enter that. That's going to lead to even rash decisions on the bench. So in the bench, if you sit and at off when you hear a response you didn't really think of and prep, you're going to be frazzled. You're going to think of situations. You're going to be like, oh, I'm not going to lose this match. But that's just not true. It's just the fact that you're tired and you're overwhelmed and you overwork yourself in prep. You have even days with 3 rounds in a day. It's very difficult to survive those days. In that instance, please have your cool. Keep your cool in prep. And that's really, really important. Don't berate each other. Don't argue in prep. If you don't understand something, try to come to a consensus as a whole. If somebody knows something, try to explain it to the other teammates. Don't automatically assume one person is dumber, one person is more smart than the entire team. This is why your team will win matches. Sometimes a team will not even have a speaker who's in Park team or whoever ranked, but that team will be sitting in the semi-finals of nationals just because that team has team chemistry. And that's so important. teams that work together, even if all three of them are not individually as great, are still going to win over teams where you have three great, amazing speakers who went to Power Team, but they don't work together. So in this instance, just keep your cool and prep. Remember that you're there with your team and you won't lose it in high pressure situations. Thirdly, speaking many rounds is exhausting. Take care of your health and know your limits. And once you feel that you passed your limit, stop. So after that, there are two situations. You have high emotions in prep, which we've discussed right now. Secondly, high pressure situations in matches. So in prep specifically, you have competitiveness within the team. And this is something that can happen a lot. That to get to PAR camp, your relationship with your team is harmed, where you think that I need to score higher than my teammate to be able to go to camp. I need to be the best speaker in this room, not the best team in this room. And you have to realize that you're not fighting for yourself, you're fighting for your team. You getting a good score, you getting a good margin as a team matters, not just your one speech getting a good score. This is why, in all of these instances, it's really, really important. It's really, really important. This is why it's really, really important, as I was saying, that you know that you're here as a team. The only way you will get success is as a team. And that is why your team chemistry matters a lot, as we just discussed. Secondly, in matches. So speakers may freeze mid speeches. They may blank mid speeches. I've had that happen to me. You may be nervous before starting the speech. In all of those instances, honestly, what I would do is just stare at a spot of the wall at the back of the judge's head before starting my speech. Or what I would do is, and I think a lot of speakers do, what I even tell some of my students to do is that before your speech starts, stop writing. You can't write anything in those 30 seconds before your speech. Don't even take those 30 seconds, firstly. But if you do, just organize your papers. Think, calm yourself, take a minute, and just be in the mindset to give a speech right now. If you're just writing reputations, and starting your speech, it's not going to help. To have a good speech, you need to be calm and deal with your emotions before starting your speech. So those 30 seconds before your speech are really, really important to be able to acclimatize yourself to the environment of standing in the podium, seeing where your papers are aligned, seeing where the timer is, if you can see the timekeeper. So just be aware, be ready before you're starting a speech, and don't lose your cool in all of these high pressure matches. Okay, then sometimes we deal with hopelessness. We have a bad round and we blame ourselves. We think that we are just terrible debaters and this is, I have never done anything good in my career. It's the worst I've ever. But it's important to realize that you will bounce back. One bad round does not define you. In a speaker's life, they speak probably hundreds of rounds. They speak 80, 40, however many rounds. One round will never define them. Just as one good round does not make a speaker who's usually getting 68 a good speaker, one bad round where you may even have gone to 69, it doesn't matter because usually and generally you are a good speaker. After a bad round, you have to realize that there are so many ways that you can get up. And this is my favorite story, but I won Urdu Nationals in my ODAPs. And when I won Urdu Nationals, we were the eighth team to break, the last, absolute last team to break to quarterfinals. And we were on probably two wins, and it was not looking great for us. Two wins or one win, I don't remember. But the point is that you can bounce back after anything. All that matters is your mindset. If in your mindset you think that you're going to win, anything can happen. Literally anything can happen. You can win tournaments, you can win nationals. Even if you broke 24th at nationals, you will still be breaking. Even if you broke like 32nd, I don't know how that works, but if you broke at the last possible position, you can still be the team that wins nationals. What doesn't matter, it doesn't matter how you did in the last round. What matters is that you're there. What matters is that you're one of the teams that broke. It doesn't matter if your quarterfinal went really, really terrible. What matters is that you spoke that and that you are in the semi-final right now. So a bad round is just that. It's one bad round. It doesn't define you. Everybody has bad rounds. Even speakers on national teams have bad rounds, but that doesn't mean they're bad speakers. It just means that it was just that, a bad round. Keep that in mind. The next time you feel like you have a bad round, know that the next round could be the goddamn best round of your life. And you should be aware of that. Secondly, sometimes after nationals, we feel hopeless about why do we even do this? What is the practicality of this? It's such an expensive activity. We pay 60, 70,000 to attend nationals. We pay insane registration costs at DSP. We pay a lot for hotels, for transportation to be able to attend these events. And it's just something that's really difficult. Why do you even do it? I think at that time it's important to realize and contemplate what's the opportunity cost for you guys. Are you really just doing this because it's sunk cost fallacy that you've invested so much now you just want to see it through? Or are you really doing it for fun? Because nobody will blame you if you leave this activity. As I've said before, leaving this activity is not the end of your life. It will be something that could be good for you. Maybe leaving this activity could allow you to explore other interests. There's many other things. You can go to the economics spark team. You can go join sports. You can start a book club. You can start crocheting. You can do so many things. And there's a lot of life left after debates. So if the opportunity cost does not seem worth it, if consistently you're investing too much in this activity and it's not seeming worth it, you can very well leave it. But if you don't, there's really, really a lot of happiness out there. Think of that one match. Think of that one match where you knew the motion really well and you gave a speech and you know in your heart that you gave a good speech. That's why I debate. Because I know that there's going to be moments where I'll hear somebody, the opposition, say something, and I know that I'll be jumping to refute it because I know the response. Debates is fun. And the only reason why you should be doing debates is if it stays fun. If it stops being fun, leave it. Nobody will blame you. Nobody will hold it against you. Everybody will forget. It won't be something bad. If you feel like you've put in so much into this activity and you're not getting in, honestly, please leave. It is not that deep. It won't be the end all be all. And if you want to stay and you want motivation to keep staying, just know that the feeling of winning a match is unaccounted for. Like I haven't felt that high anywhere because winning matches, ranking, feeling that formal success. And once you even start getting good at debate and you start seeing how fun debate is, it is something that is enjoyable. But that's what's important, right? That it's a hobby, that it's enjoyable, not that it's just something that's taking a part of your brain away. So, in all of those instances, if it stays enjoyable, do it. If it's not, it's just not that deep. Please leave. It is not, nobody hold it against you. Okay. Next thing, we will talk about outstation teams and surviving. And this is something that I feel a lot and something that I think we should take care of a lot in our lives. And that is going outstation and surviving. So going outstation, there are a few things we need to keep in mind. Firstly, we need to keep in mind, we need to keep in mind how we're going to be traveling. So what do we need to do before traveling? So before traveling, what we need to do is we need to pack smartly. We need to pack enough clothes for the entire trip. We need to understand if we're going to be washing our clothes, if we're going to be giving it to the hotel staff, if they're going to be washing it. We need to know how to iron our clothes because your blazers and your uniforms will not stay ironed. Please trust me, been there, done that. Please be aware of how your clothes are going to be because that is enough stress over there. You don't need to be stressing over your clothes once you're at nationals. Secondly, take medication that you know you'll need. If you have a frequent upset stomach, if you have frequent migraines, headaches, take the medication that you'll need. If you're on some constant medication, and this is for coaches, by the way, I doubt that you're watching, but please carry a basic set of medication, a basic over-the-counter medication for your children that one could need. That for the worst possible case. It's going to be good if you didn't need it, but if you needed it, it's better to have it than to not have it. So upset stomachs, nausea, headaches, diarrhea, food poisoning just because the water is different, just because you ate something bad, because we are all kids who are coming to different countries, different cities. So pack for the worst possible case and you will be prepared. Just be prepared. Take the entire medicine box for all I care of. Just have some medication there because at the hotel, it will be very difficult in often instances to get that medication. It's very important that you have that in your bag at nationals. The host team may have it, they may not have it. It's good to rely on yourselves rather than on. Secondly, at the location, at the tournament. Sleep. That's the one thing I'll say. Sleep. I have been there. It is very exciting to stay up till 5 a.m., no parents, no accountability, nobody over your heads, discussing your deepest, darkest secrets with your friends and just having fun and loitering around the hotel. It is not going to pay off when you're speaking your quarterfinal of nationals the next day, or your semi-final, or even your round six, and you're speaking a round that may very well determine if you break or not. Sleep. It may be fun, but please, it is something that we don't consider. That there's a thing that I will discuss right after this called home ground advantage. The fact that a lot of the speakers who are there speaking locally are people who have home ground advantage. That there are people who are going back home to their parents. Their parents are driving them off immediately after the tournament ends. They go home to their rooms. They eat home cooked, warm food, healthy food that may not upset their stomachs. They will go to sleep on time because their parents are over there. They will get up in the morning. Their mom will cook them breakfast and they will come back to the tournament. These are people getting 8 full hours of sleep. Studies show that not sleeping will have a physical, detrimental effect on how your brain thinks. This is the one activity where we need our brain to think. So, why is it? Why is it that outstation teams, every single time at tournaments, at nationals, at outstation tournaments, they put themselves at a disadvantage before they even step into the debate room? If you're an outstation team and you feel like you haven't been doing well at outstation tournaments, just consider the fact that when you do things like this, when you don't have regular intake of food, when you try new places, when you go to Lahore for the first time and you're like, oh, I'll try this really new Bhat Kadhai place, you're harming yourself. You're only harming yourself. You're not doing yourself an advantage. It Try not to break up your routine. Don't randomly start having a lot of caffeine. Don't randomly start having a lot of sugar because your parents are not there and you have just discovered what Monster is. Do not do that. Because note that while you're having the experience of your lifetime and you're just doing this, for local teams, this is a tournament that they've come here to win. This is a tournament where they're going home and the only thing they're thinking about is nationals. They're coming to school the next day to the tournament, and the only thing they've done is rest and eat. And what you've done is eaten 5 bags of Daily Deli and fries and probably done God knows what till 4 a.m. and then had 2 Red Bulls and come to the event. This is not healthy. This is not going to get you good in debate. This is something that will harm you. And this is why your priorities are really important. If you're coming to nationals for shugal or for fun, then sure, this is great. But if you define your expectations as coming to Lahore and winning nationals, then this is not something you should be doing. You should be well aware of the fact that once you start doing this, if you stop giving yourself sleep, if you disrupt your routine, if you don't eat, all of these things will literally lead to you not winning. And I've been there. I've literally been there. The fact that you are so excited at the prospect of going out somewhere without your parents and just having fun that you forget the fact that you're outstation at a tournament for the purpose of winning debate, that your parents, that you probably paid good money to be there and debate. After this nationals, you may not have a lot left. So at this point, all you need to do is eat your breakfast, eat your meals, do not experiment. And I know we don't have a lot of healthy food options at these events too, but take care of yourself. Eat food that you know that you can digest. Do not experiment during these days. I can't stress how important it is. When you probably, if you've been kicked out of the tournament or if you've done your event and you're on the last day, experiment on that day, eat whatever you want on that day. But during the event, please, for the love of God, please do not experiment. Do not stay up till late. Do not disrupt your routine. Just please follow routine, because debates is dependent on a lot of factors. It is dependent on a lack of knowledge, the wrong side of the motion, an error in understanding the motion. I've done that where you just completely misunderstood the motion, not having a 5 member team, not having your usual teammates with you. All of these factors lead to you losing a match. Then why? Why is it that you add something to that? Why do you complicate it by being sleep deprived, by being sick, by being hungry, all because you were just excited to go to another tournament? The point here is that we will go to many tournaments in our lives. This is just because we're 14, 15, 16 right now, and we think that, okay, uh, this is the only time I'll ever get to achieve this sort of independence. Throughout your life, you will have many opportunities to go places without your parents. You'll probably go to university without your parents. You will experience this. but you won't have another nationals. And there will be times where you think, God, I wish at that time I just went to sleep. God, I wish at that time I wasn't sick. I had speakers who missed their last nationals because they got sick on day 3 or day 4. It is a 5 day event. It is more than 6 rounds. All of that is bloody tiring. And if at the end of that you complicate it by making yourself sick, I just don't understand. I think this is something that would be very, very detrimental. So for outstation teams, this is a reason that is a very important reason why I wanted to make this video. Please, if you're outstation, take care of yourself. You don't understand what a big disadvantage you're at when you're going away and going to another city for a tournament. Once you go to another city for a tournament, you're already at a disadvantage. Please, please don't harm yourselves more. If you're actually here to win, then do that. Lock in and do not spend your time watching reels till 4 a.m. or walking around the terrace of your hotel till 4 a.m. Please, please sleep, eat, and rest generally. Sixth, what if you lose a match at nationals and you don't really understand why? There are many reasons why this may happen. I think that we may experience unclear feedback. We may have unfair justifications. There may be unfair decisions. There may be times where we think, yeah, okay, this was not fair. I do not think I should have been judged in this manner. I do not understand why we lost this issue. And at that time, it's very important to understand that judges are also humans. Judges are also people. They are people with their own subjective opinions. If a person is sitting there and judging you, they've passed an adjudication test. There are people who have judged multiple times, probably, especially if we're talking about important matches like your finals or semifinals or out rounds. These are people with experience, and they were probably sitting there for a reason. The Chief Adjudication Panel and generally every single organizer of a tournament puts in great thought behind who's going to judge. And for people who are not judging, it's very important for you guys to, for people who are not judging, it's very important that you know they're not judging for a reason. So people who are judging are there because they scored well or because the CAF feels that they are people who will give you good, valuable feedback. So firstly, please always be respectful of your judges. Even if you lose a round, that person does not hate you. It was just a round. That person may have made you win many times before. They may have made you lose many times before. That match is just a match. One team can be beaten by a margin of 8 in a debate by you, but in the other match they can defeat you by a margin of 0.5, and that is what makes debates fun. It's just so unpredictable. So in this time, if you feel that you have unfair justifications, unfair decisions, you always approach the panel. You always go to the panel afterwards. You ask them for feedback. And side note, have feedback etiquette, guys. If a judge is eating, please do not interrupt them mid nivala in their mouth. Just take some time, and then once they're done eating, please approach them, ask them for feedback every single time. Secondly, once you receive feedback, you receive personal feedback, you don't think this person judged the match fairly, you have your feedback forms for a reason. All of your private URLs will have feedback forms sent to you. Please fill that and fill that to the best of your knowledge. Be objective, be impartial, be unbiased. In those instances, just write what you felt that judge did that was wrong. Write why you think you didn't agree with their decision. And if your reasoning is valid and if same feedback has been received previously, obviously your complaint will be heard. CAP and everyone who organizes tournaments, the DSP generally does not want, it is not against you guys. It does not want you guys to have a terrible time. It does not want to give unfair decisions. Teams from many different places around Pakistan win these tournaments. It's not about, okay, we're always favoring or giving the win to one team that pays the most money. It is generally an experience which the DSP and the CAP wants you to have that is a positive experience. So please fill those feedback forms. If you genuinely feel a judge is not performing to the best of their capabilities, fill that feedback form. Secondly, always approach the panel afterwards, get your feedback. And even if you get that loss and it's something that's not really as great, process it. It may seem difficult, but know what matters in the round isn't what you thought you said. It's what the judge perceived for it to be. Because debates isn't just about what you prepared or what you researched or what you know. It's not a knowledge test. It's not a knowledge quiz. It's not IKLC or HRCA, I don't know, where you go and you have a MCQ test about your general knowledge and you circle all the responses that you know, and the person who did the most research will get the points. It's not that. Debates is the art of persuasion. If one person was not persuaded by your arguments, if two, three people were not persuaded by your arguments and you lost a match, it's important to understand that it doesn't matter what you thought. What matters is what that person thought, the person that was judging the match. Maybe they thought that you didn't give an argument fairly. Maybe there were reasons. And usually in outrounds, you have patterns. If two people think that you lost that match, maybe you did do something wrong. It's important to be humble within these instances. The dice analogy that Anam beautifully gave before, the fact that sometimes it's just a loss, sometimes it's just a roll of the dice, it's just a loss, it's nothing more. But oftentimes, if you lose and there's multiple people pointing out these are reasons why you lost, we should be humble and accept that loss and understand that maybe it's because I didn't complete that thing and I wasn't able to persuade this judge. Because there's not one type of judge. I know we call it the ordinary intelligent voter, but there's not one OIV. People have different sets of knowledge. People have different sets of understanding debates. Not everyone thinks the same way. So if you weren't able to convince every set of person within that room, you weren't doing as well. You had to convince every single person within that room to win the match. Like, and this is all to say that you had to convince people and you weren't doing as well. If you feel like you gave it your best possible shot and you still feel like you have unfair decisions and unfair justifications, just go and tell your coach. Ask your coaches to approach CAP yourself, write a complaint, write a feedback form, and your complaint will be heard. I'm DCA at CAP this year, at Nationals this year. I will be there. Many other people. Anam Nasir is part of the equity team. She will be there. We will all be there to hear your thoughts and concerns. If you feel like something like this has happened, this is not the end all be all. It is not like, oh, was hota hai, like this is something that just happens. Please deal with it. If it happens and you feel like you've been treated unjustly, come to us and we will make sure that you are heard. We won't guarantee that something will come out of it because maybe we have conflicting stories. But in the instance that you come to us, we will for sure make sure that you are heard and that your complaint is received. So please, once you lose, do not lose hope. It is just a round, as we previously discussed. It's just one bad round. And as one good round doesn't define you, one bad round doesn't define you. So, lastly, finally, I'm ending. What should we know before we go into nationals? We should know that debates is just an extracurricular. We should know that there are many more extracurriculars like this, that there are maybe 250, 300 kids in nationals, and maybe debates is not the destiny for all of them. Some may be excelling in other things, in STEM or in humanities or whatever. And it is not important that just because you're coming to nationals that your end goal in life is to be somebody who's in party. I just want that going into nationals, what all of us know is that there is a world outside of debate. That because we live in this bubble, we think that debates is something that will control our lives, that debates is the one thing that will make sure that our lives are happy or sad. If we win, we'll be happy. If we go to camp, we will be successful. It's not that. It's just not that deep. So if you lose, if you win, you should know that there is a very huge possibility that may happen. And in the instance that may happen, take care of yourself and be aware that this can happen and have coping mechanisms ready in the instance that that does happen. Prepare yourself, talk to your friends, talk to your teammates, and deal with the loss. Don't lock yourself out. Don't stonewall everyone and don't take this to be the end of your life because it is just not. Please understand, everyone's careers end. People who go to park team, their careers end, and people who never made it to camp, their careers also end. At the end of the day, what matters is when you're going to university and when you're debating and you look back at your career and you're able to see, okay, I had fun. Nobody will think, oh, I went to park team. I had an experience of going to partying last year. I went to in 2025, I was a part of reserve. I represented Pakistan and Thailand. When I go to my university, not one person knows that there. Nobody cares. It just doesn't matter. Debates is fun because you're able to do debates. Once you go out and you speak tournaments in university, it's because you are interested in those tournaments. It's because you want to debate further. It's because you want to learn more. It's not because you made it to park camp that you're able to enjoy this activity. It's not because you made it to park team you enjoyed it and that's why you enjoy this activity and do this activity. At the end of the day, park camp, park team, winning nationals, that is not the epitome of success. The epitome of success is at the end of your career, your high school debate career. Did you learn something? Did you become a person that you're proud of? Did you get critical thinking skills? If you achieved all of that, that is a person that you should be proud of. That is something that you deserve recognition for, the fact that you were able to learn and grow and be better. But if you think that just because you didn't make it to Park Cam, your career ended, it's just not true. I think at the end of all of this, your health, your mental capacity, and if you're happy or not, that matters the most. If debates harms that, please leave that. And I know it's hypocritical coming from me, but please, it just isn't that deep. If it harms you, it's not that deep. But if you truly like it, it is one of the most enjoyable activities in this world. And if you truly like it, I hope that nationals this year is fun for you. And I hope that everyone enjoys this year. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for coming to this workshop. Allah Hafiz.